Hello, everyone. As we are celebrating Autism Inclusion and Acceptance Month in April, our today's guest is Anthony and Steve from JPMorgan Chase, who will be sharing some of the amazing work happening at JPMorgan Chase as part of that Autism at Work program. Steve, if you can introduce yourself and give us your role at GPMC and what you're passionate about, that would be great.
Sure thing. Hi, I'm Steve Hoffman. I'm an executive director at JP Morgan within our receivables operations group. Our receivables operations group employs over 4,000 employees worldwide, and we process checks and invoices and forms for our clients.
Anthony?
Hi, everyone. I am Anthony Pacilio. I'm the global head of Autism Work for JPMorgan Chase, and been doing this for about 6 years since the inception of the program, which it started out from 4 people and is now over 235 in 9 countries and 40 different job roles. I'm excited to be here. Steve is a wonderful advocate of the program, and Receivable Operations has been an amazing partner along with Rangam in being able to source individuals who are on the spectrum to come work for JPMorgan Chase. So very excited to be here, Nish.
Thank you. Thank you. Tracey, would you mind just introducing yourself? Give us a little bit about you and your background.
Sure. So Tracey Andrus, and worked with the Rangam team, but I have the great pleasure of working directly with JP Morgan and in our source-able program with the Autism at Work group. And it is such a pleasure working with all of the hiring leaders and being able to place great talents within JP Morgan.
So thank you. Thank you, everyone. I would like to start with you, Anthony. If you can just tell us, everybody's talking about moving the needle in the space of hiring neurodiverse talent, and you and your team at JPMorgan Chase has really performed and demonstrated that. Could you please share with us how exactly, and what is the secret sauce?
Yeah, and I think we're always willing to give our secret sauce away. I think it does start with senior leadership buy-in, right? So that's one of the big things we had starting from the get-go a few years back. But it also takes everybody inside of JPMorgan Chase, the colleagues, recruiters, people like Steve and Tracey coming together and making sure that we have a solid partnership, we have a solid foundation. And listen, we're going to make mistakes along the way. We've done that, but we've really tried to rectify that and make sure that, we kind of take the business case for what folks on the spectrum can do and make it about that, right? So Nish and Tracey and Steve have heard me 1,000 times say it's definitely not about charity. It isn't. And moving the needle part just doesn't take myself going to people and saying, hey, listen, we have a great opportunity. We have some folks from an untapped talent pipeline to do certain jobs within the bank. And if we're in 40 different jobs, that speaks to the breadth and depth of people who are cognitively different that can come in and do those jobs. But we have to kind of find an awesome partner, and that's what our corporate investment bank and receivables have done. They're kind of the quickest pace of growing for us, but it doesn't happen without the partnership of Rangam helping us to find that talent, being there side by side inside of JPMorgan Chase, and making sure that it runs smoothly and efficiently. And listen, that secret sauce we will give to anybody, small companies, large companies, mom and pop, whatever it may be. We just want to see people be employed. So hopefully that helps, Nish.
Absolutely, and Anthony, we have seen it, we have experienced that. So thank you for sharing that secret sauce with all the other organizations and companies who is really interested in hiring neurodiverse talent.
Yes, it's been extraordinary to be able to see the passion that and the dedication from my perspective in working with JP Morgan with the Autism at Work group. And Steve, I go to you because you've been such a champion. JP Morgan can have a great program like the Autism at Work program, but it's people within the organization to really grab a hold of it and to go forward with it. And I know that you have been a key leader within that group, within receivable operations, amongst others, but not only as a champion, but also one who has hired and has your managers who are hiring. So I wanted to have you share a little bit about that experience and the benefits that you have seen in participating in the Autism at Work program with JP Morgan.
Sure. Well, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of our first start through the program. Ramon Heredia, who works in receivables, has been our champion. And we have so much support in this program that we have Autism at Work partnerships in Charlotte, Louisville, in New York, in Dallas, in Chicago. We're starting one up in Los Angeles, and I know we're starting to get India going as well too. So globally, we're committed to this for a few reasons. One, the partnership is fantastic. The value add and the support that Rangam brings is a tremendous tool for us to not only onboard the right resources, they always present us with very, very talented resources, but also to help us train our existing staff on the awareness of and acceptance of autism. And that really helps with the onboarding of our resources. We get really 3 great benefits of the Autism at Work program. One is we get exposed to talent that thinks differently and approaches problems differently. So that really increases the diverse nature of our talent. Number 2 is we get highly motivated resources. The talent that comes from this program, they are really excited to work at JP Morgan. And they're excited to have a potential opportunity of even one day becoming a JP Morgan employee, which we've done many times throughout this program. And thirdly, the quality and productivity and utilization that comes from the talent that is through the Autism at Work program actually is higher than the average resources that we have on our payroll today. So we get great benefits from this program, and the program is set up so that the partnership allows for help all along the way, from onboarding to coaching when they are onboarded and training. So it's going really well.
Great. Well, thank you, Steve, and we appreciate it because it's been a true partnership. But the point is that you've seen the benefits and the engagement across the organization. And Anthony, with the role in which you play globally, and you hear how the receivable operations team is expanding. And again, I applaud the fact that JP Morgan was committed throughout the pandemic. There was never, there was pause to say, let's make sure we're doing it the right way. And nobody even knew what the right way was. Because it was all new. But the dedication and the partnership was very solid as far as with the hiring teams to make sure that the tools were there and that those tools became universal. And I think something that you see probably, Anthony, is how those tools have become universal throughout JP Morgan across the globe. Can you share a little bit about that too?
Yeah, so I think, as we grew receivable operations, we used that as kind of the template to mirror in other places, India being one of those. We'll probably expand to a few other countries, but I think there's 2 things before we get to the tools. One of the things is having that leadership buy-in. So Michelle Conklin, Steve, and Ramon, guiding us, even though that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and still saying, we see the talent and we see, the ability that our folks have. We need to continue to grow. So that's the first thing. The tools part of it, the tools actually come in a couple different forms. The tool could be education. It could be the, teaching of a job. But I think what happens when you have those tools is you get a cultural shift internally. And I think that's where the greatest piece of it comes from. And, I'm sure Steve will agree, right? We have colleagues and other folks that are on the floor in CIB Ops that are, probably different from where they were a year ago in terms of, and I see the shirt says empathy, empathy, right? So I think there's a greater cause than metrics and productivity and all these other things. We're able to give people employment opportunities, people going out, living on their own, doing things independently. I think, from a tool set perspective, you can give them the tools to come in to do the job. You can give them the education and the training. But what comes out of all of those tools is the bigger cause of having somebody who's never had the opportunity to go to work, do some work, and be just excited about it. So hopefully that answers your question. I know I kind of talked about tools a little bit in there, but I think there's so much more you can talk about. So I'll turn it back to you, Trace.
If you could pick a favorite story that you would like to be able to share about the program.
We have many testimonials of the Autism at Work program talent coming in and expressing how grateful they are and how accepting they feel, and this is the best job that they've had. And so those are numerous, but one of the things that really hit me last year is Ramon went on the road and he did a bunch of training. He trained over 1,000 people in a matter of weeks around the program. And these are our employees, right, that we trained. And our employees would continuously come up to him after the class or even during the class and say how appreciative they are because they have a family member who does have autism, and they see a brighter future. They see an organization like JPMorgan, welcoming neurodiverse talent and committing ourselves to this program, that it really has hit home to those communities and those families that are at JPMorgan that have relatives and friends to see that, there's a normal existence from an employment standpoint, here for people on the spectrum. So that's, it's touched a lot of lives here at JPMorgan.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, and so like Steve, we have 260,000 employees, and a lot of those employees are touched by somebody who might be a relative or a son, daughter. They could be a caregiver who is associated with autism. But I think one of the best stories that I have is, one of our folks who came in who didn't know much about a technical piece, like they call it Java. And they said, well, do you have that experience? He's like, no, but I can learn it. And that was on a Friday. And by Monday, he was proficient in Java because he went to Barnes and Nobles and he went to YouTube and he learned all about this coding language. And today, after he got hired, because we are definitely going to hire him, after he got hired, he is now married and he's having his first child this month. So I think there's, again, we talk about numbers and stuff like that, but that's, how cool is that? Like, living in their own place, they got their house, they're doing their own thing. It just makes your heart melt.
Yes, and that's great. And one of my favorite stories has to do with the mentorship program. We set up peer buddies within JPMorgan when we bring the talent in, and then there's also our mentors. And Michelle Conklin did a beautiful job in meeting with one of the talent who's now a JPMorgan employee by spending time talking about other roles within the organization and then networking the talent with those other roles. And that's where Ramon, our other champion, who's not with us today, but was able to make those connections as well. And what I heard from that employee was that he said it was so valuable. And he said, I learned to keep your eye on the prize and realize that this is an investment in your in yourself and in your career. And it was such a valuable experience. But the fact that JP Morgan opens up and they're very willing to support the talent and show them where the possibilities are. Again, the employees have to make those possibilities and connect. But at the end of the day, the opportunities are there for them. And I applaud JP Morgan for that. And I applaud you for your efforts and where you have taken the Autism at Work program, and you continue to elevate it every day. So we appreciate all of your time with us. It's been great. And celebrating Autism Inclusion Month is a wonderful thing to be able to do with you. We're very, very privileged to be able to work with you guys, and we appreciate it. Anything you want to add before we wrap up our discussion today?
Just a big thank you for not only the partnership, but the talent that you put in the pipeline and present to us is more often than not is actually above the bar that we're looking for. And we hire them and we bring them in and they perform extremely well. So you're really helping our business, and we're very grateful for the partnership. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
The collaboration has been wonderful. We look to continue this in a larger sense across the globe, and I'm very excited for it. So thank you again.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Anthony. We really appreciate all the great work you are doing to promote truly employment for everyone. And as you know, we at Rangam, we call empathy drives innovation. So you are truly creating this empathetic culture where JPMorgan Chase and your team is really creating that culture of inclusion and empathy to promote innovation at JPMorgan Chase. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.